The time is 3:15 and Radio Ghana presents Ghana Today. My name is Nanamo Maru. With this edition of Ghana Today, stories from our correspondents across the country. In today's lineup, residents of Esueyi in Techima North District of Bono East Region appeal to government to make the gas production plant and Gari processing factory in the district functional. Gender-based violence advocates demand for more public awareness for girls. And Mental Health Authority calls for passage of mental health levy to ease pressure on health facilities. Not our first story. Adolescent girls are the highest risk of physical, psychological, and sexual violence. According to UNICEF, before age 15, 1 out of every 10 girls is sexually abused. The majority of these incidents go unreported for fear of the victim being accused of encouraging the assault and disgracing their families. Early marriage is viewed by some families as protecting girls from the social stigma that may result from having survived a rape that led to what is termed as shameful pregnancy. Mavis Offei Acheampong has more.
Gender-based violence in Ghana thrives due to its regressive cultural practices. A few reasons GBV persist are broken homes and home violence. Though culture frowns on these acts, it still does not allow the thorough punishment of perpetrators. Some of these cultural practices do not let the abuse be heard. In most communities in Ghana, perpetrators of such abuse can be exposed by some community members, yet the buck stops with the family, who may either want to seek redress or shelve the case for fear of being pointed fingers.
Culture plays a significant role. For an example, if your partner abuses you, your husband, and then you want to report, many people will come in and say, "Oh, why are you going to report to your husband?" So you do say that your husband has the right to beat you. So I've heard that there are some communities and cultures that will say it is when your husband loves you, he beats you. And all this kind of the fuel violence. So all these cultural issues must change. Because when these issues are framed in that way, what happens is that it makes women and children or anybody who experiences violence to think that is acceptable. Because then it's being given an acceptable framing in the culture. But we know that these issues are not to be condoned at all.
Sexual abuse of women and girls increased last year due to the COVID-19 lockdowns. UNICEF report indicates that in the past 12 months, 22% of teenage girls aged 13 and 19 countrywide suffered sexual abuse. These figures are understated. Most girls do not report such cases either because they fear reprisal from their families or threats from perpetrators. The fear of being blamed for the assault keeps the girls quiet.
It is education. When we are talking about parents and children, we are talking about socialization. You know, the way we even bring up our children, our girl child especially, but we both have to be assertive. They should be able to report abuse. It should not that it's not fun for her to be abused. That the girl child knows that I am also precious and then have the right to live a life that is free of abuse. Sometimes also know that, oh, what I'm going through is not the right thing. But the power to take away to complain, because it is the people in the culture, your home or your husband, who say, how can you report your husband? But then you are dying. That's when you finally get killed. So come and ask that you were talking, but people were not listening, or you try to talk and people mute your voice.
Most sexually abused girls withdraw or avoid participating in activities at home or school until someone notices. Afi, not her real name, is Madame Comfort's 13-year-old daughter. Her father sexually abused her. After that, Afi refused to visit him whenever she sent to collect money for their upkeep. Madame Comfort and her husband separated a few years ago, and what she makes from her small business is not enough to cater for her and her daughter's needs. Her husband has been supporting them, and at one time, Afi went to stay with him, and that is when he assaulted her.
She earlier did not tell us the truth about the whole situation. The father says he will not take care of her again for having disgraced him.
Getting perpetrators apprehended and prosecuted takes too much time, and it took Madame Comfort almost 3 months to get her ex-husband charged for incest. Unlike Madame Comfort, many parents, particularly mothers, may not have the courage to persist or the resources to pursue the matter due to the unending back and forth at the police station or even in court.
When we look at the legal system, yes, we have them in place. But when we also look at, we see that finding shelter for people who have experienced violence may not come that easy. I know that the social welfare has some support system and they are able to move people temporarily. But is it effective? This is available all around the country. And then we also have to look at the legal system. How is it for people to assess it? When somebody goes through abuse and the person goes to the hospital, how is the person supposed to pay for a report? How does the person get the form that the person should fill? And even if where the person should make a report is far from the person's home, sometimes even getting transport to the nearest place to be able to make a report is the problem. So I think that there is some support system, but it may not be so effective that everybody who experiences violence is covered. And as a country, there is a room for us to improve this system and ensure that everybody who goes through violence is able to take with us and get all the necessary support to get healed and move on in life.
The Director of Programs at the Hope for Future Generation, HFFG, a non-governmental organization that works with child survivors of GBV, Mrs. Nancy Ansah, called for more support systems for abused girls.
Because of culture and sometimes lack of knowledge or sometimes lack of economic power to go far or to seek redress through the law court, many violence or many abuses get reported at the community level, and some of these cases, they try to settle them on the community level. There may be some cases that can be handled there, but cases like rape and the rest, we would advocate that the law takes its place. But then there may be some issues of getting maybe shelter, temporary shelter, issues of looking at psychological support, and also even fighting violence from the root cause, which is from the culture. Our mothers are very, very key.
Support systems for GBV include psychosocial help, providing shelter or counseling for survivors. They are how GBV survivors are able to reintegrate into society. For children, these support systems may vary from that of adults, while adult victims may have to be empowered to move out of the home for shelter. Children, on the other hand, may not have the same powers. Therefore, the abuse may continue unabated. Mrs. Nancy Ansah said vigorous criminal prosecution of incidents and the speedy prosecution of GBV cases would encourage more women and girls to report.
When your child has gone through abuse, you must seek redress. You must ensure that the perpetrators are brought to you, and your child will need that support. There have been some issues that maybe if this child goes to report the abuse, let's say sexual abuse, then you say, and if you didn't go there, if you didn't wear a dress like this, if you didn't shake yourself, no. What about those who abuse a 3-year-old girl? Did the girl wear a dress? Did the girl shake her bottom or something like that? Some parents sometimes say some of these things to their girls, or maybe even when the who abuse the girl of the family, then they want to cover it because they say family disgrace. So, what about your child's future? What about your child's psychological well-being? What about your child's future marriage? Your child's health? Your child's education? So you have to think through all these things and you have to ensure that your child gets the justice that is deserved. When justice is served, that's a lot of to remove the psychological burden of abusers. You should know that abuse is not acceptable and that laws against abuse. When we get to know this, and then the laws are also ensuring that justice is served, I think we'll be going a long way to say that we have worked on gender-based violence really well, and that now it is unattractive for anybody to abuse a woman or a child in the community or in the home.
To encourage more GBV survivors to report assault and to expedite the hearing of such cases, the Judicial Service has established 10 family-friendly courts across the Northern, Bono East and Ashanti regions. The Greater Accra region has 2 such courts. These courts are designed to enable GBV survivors, particularly children, to testify in camera. Unlike other courts where hearings are public, the family courts provide child survivors of GBV to testify without coming face-to-face with their abusers. Other support mechanisms that child rights and GBV advocacy groups are demanding to be implemented include the provision of healthcare programs that are safe, sensitive, confidential, and accessible. Survivors of sexual abuse should also be provided with first-line support, psychological first aid, HIV/AIDS post-exposure prophylaxis, treatment of sexually transmitted infections, and hepatitis B immunization. Funding for legal aid for GBV survivors, which is currently inadequate, understaffed, and of poor quality, needs to be enhanced. These interventions should adopt a survivor-centered approach in which survivors' rights and wishes are respected, their safety is ensured, and they are treated with dignity and respect. Protecting their dignity empowers them to face life challenges. Ensuring perpetrators are held accountable for their crimes is the first step in the healing process. For Ghana Today, Mavis Offei Acheampong reporting.